Hello and welcome to day one of the 2022 Texas Soccer Summit. So glad you found us. So glad that all of you have been so supportive of the Striker Texas. 1 year into this adventure, covering soccer across Texas, I'm so honored to present more than an athlete. This panel in the one p.m. slot with Kenny Cooper, who you'll know as a Texas soccer legend and a brand ambassador right now, currently for FC Dallas, and Jas Spencer, who's playing for Angel City FC, and of course you know her from her time with the Houston Dash, and really a fan favorite during her time there. So thank you both for joining us, and yeah, I guess just Jas, I'll start with you. You're in preseason right now. Short stint with Houston, but a very memorable one, getting that club. Uh, you know, having one of the most successful seasons in that club's history. I guess Jas, what did you take away from your time in Houston, and what's it like now in preseason with a brand new club?
Yeah, thank you for the intro, first and foremost. And I'm really grateful for the time I had in Houston. It was really brief. I wish I could have spent more time there, but it was definitely an important time in my career with coming off of a major injury and then having COVID the two previous years.
Yeah.
I felt like I needed to, reintroduce myself to the league, and Houston gave me the opportunity to do that. So it was great.
Yeah, it's amazing, and I think you two both have kind of similar paths in that you've both played in a lot of different places. So we'll touch on that in a little bit. But Kenny, you're back, in your hometown, a place that I know you grew up. Your dad played for the Tornado, and you've obviously made an impact with FC Dallas now in this ambassador role. Yeah, how's that going? And what's it like to kind of be putting roots down back in DFW after being so many different places over your playing career?
Yeah, it's been amazing. I mean, this is my home. This club is my home. It's been my family for a long time, and so I feel tremendously honored to do this role and to serve the club in this way. And it's nice to be back. There's people who've been a part of this club for like 20 plus years, so it feels very familiar. And as I said, it feels like home. This is my family, and I'm just super excited to have opportunities to engage and connect with our community and our fans. I've tried to spend a lot of time, around the team as well. So I've really enjoyed it. Just trying to, be a support to the club and a resource, really in any way I can.
Yeah, of course, we want to talk about the impact that athletes and specifically you guys have had, off the field with your, various projects, community involvements, and so I guess we'll just dive right into it. But I wanted to kind of go back to maybe the early days of your playing career for both of you, and maybe when if you remember the first time you realized kind of what you could be more than just a soccer player. What your platform as a professional could be for you. Jas, I guess I'll start with you. Maybe it's a little more recent for you, but you're still in your playing career. But when did you realize that you could have an impact beyond just what you do on the pitch?
I actually think it started back in college for me because there was not a professional league when I went to school.
Right.
And so you kind of yeah, it's crazy. But you kind of, had this idea of you just want to be part of the community in the school that you're going to and inspire the young kids around you to maybe pursue going to college and maybe being a collegiate athlete. And so we used to have, I went to University of Maryland, and we used to have summer camps every year, and we'd sit and talk with the camp attendees and say, this is it for women's soccer. You want to go to a place where you can be at home for the next 4 years. And there was no being a professional athlete at that time, so I felt like I started to take on that role sooner. And then obviously when the WPS came back, it was the first league in like over a decade, and so there was excitement again, and the opportunity again. And then right when I came out and got drafted into that league, it folded. So, I kind of, my career was on this like, you might not ever be able to become a professional athlete. So I feel like my approach started in college with always wanting to be involved in the community and wanting to give back, because you didn't necessarily know that, being a professional was going to be an opportunity for you.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Kenny, your career got off to a much different start. Obviously, going over to Manchester United and having a chance to be part of that academy. And professional soccer was something that you grew up with in your house. But how did you see your kind of role outside of the game, or when did that become a focus for you more?
Yeah, well, I was really lucky when I was growing up. My father coached professionally. He had played professionally. So I was fortunate enough to grow up around the professional game. And so I think I realized really early on, um, or I experienced actually, just the impact that these players were having in my life. These were my heroes and my role models, and any interaction with them was just so meaningful to me. And so I think really early on, I saw the path I wanted to go down, and I think I saw too just the impact, or I felt just you know uh, the impact that a professional soccer player could have as I got older. And grown up in Dallas, I had an opportunity to be around and coached by some of my father's former Tornado teammates, and I've like always thought of these guys as just amazing ambassadors of the game, and they just supported me so much just throughout my development as a player, but also as a person. So really, just throughout like my youth, I had amazing opportunities to connect and engage with, you know, current professional players, former professional players, and I saw I experienced just like the positive influence that they had on me. And so, throughout my career, I think I understood really early on the impact that, I could have as a professional. And, just as I said, any acknowledgement from, my heroes, was so powerful. And I realized at some point, I think that there's just so many opportunities to, be a positive presence, even just a simple hello, a wave, how you doing? Um, and so that's always been really important to me. And I mean, so as I said, I think just from an early point in my life, I realized that as a professional athlete, you can just have a massive impact and positive influence in someone's life.
For sure. And, I want to go back to what Jazz said earlier about not, not having a professional league and those as many professional players to look up to. What were your touch points to professional soccer? Did you have many? Was that even something that you were able to consider while you were in college, that, you wanted to pursue a professional soccer dream? Like, how did you experience kind of representation and those things that I guess you're able to provide for young kids now?
Yeah, I mean, the US women's national team has always been so
Hmm.
successful, back to like I grew up watching the 99ers, and so I feel like they were huge. And seeing people like Brianna Scurry and them just be able to just elevate the game in this country was huge. And so I felt like if ever given the opportunity, that is something that I wanted to pursue. But I feel like as I was going through high school and early stages of college, I looked to like other athletes and then male players as well, because, MLS big, EPL is obviously the biggest. And I love the game. And so like that's who I was watching to learn and grow, because there weren't other women's games, the occasional women's national team game. But even when I was in high school and college, that was kind of their lull when they weren't as successful. And so they weren't being as covered as much as they are now. So you just kind of had to get creative in ways that you wanted to keep the dream alive. And then obviously, now the league is here, and the women's game is growing so much. There's so much more opportunity available. And I think being a part of that growth and helping the next generation along is has been so rewarding for me.
Yeah, and you've obviously been able to do that now 10 years into a professional soccer career, which is amazing. But off the field, you've been doing quite a bit too. It's almost hard to keep track of all the places that you've kind of popped up and the things you've been involved in. But I wanted to start with your your sustainable lifestyle brand, Jazz It Up, and how that kind of came about, why those environmental, why the environment's such an important thing for you, and how that became the way that you were able to kind of express that and put that out into the world.
Yeah, I started it in 2016 when I was playing in Orlando. And I used to wear all these crazy headbands. So I kind of started it as like a custom headband collection. And it was just a way for me to kind of grow my brand and interact with fans. And it got received really well. And so I started to think about ways that I could incorporate other things that I was passionate about. And I grew up on Long Island and I studied biology in college. So like I always had a love for the environment and nature and just being outdoors and finding ways that we can, help preserve it. So I was like, I think that could be a really cool message that I can educate and inspire people to just think a little bit more about. So I started using eco-friendly materials for my headbands and hosting beach cleanups and just kind of getting out there and getting involved. And then when I tore my ACL, I had so much time on my hands. I was like, how can I make this message bigger and reach more people? And that's really when the idea came to grow and rebrand it as a full sustainable lifestyle brand.
Yeah, no, it's amazing, and I guess I want to come back to that in a minute. But Kenny, tell me about how this brand ambassador role came about, and how you feel like your playing career, how you became such a popular player in the community that you grew up in, that now you're able to sort of use that name and that success to to try and help grow this club in the area.
Yeah, well, Jazz, I have to say, I want to say thanks too, just for all the work you've done on off the field. I have two daughters, 5-year-old and a 1-year-old. My 5-year-old just played her first game, and it's just exciting to see, the opportunities that women have to play now. It's exciting for the U.S. Women's National Team play here on Wednesday, and I'm just so excited to be able to show her what's possible for her to see. And she may not want to be a professional soccer player. That's perfectly okay. But I love hearing about her dreams, and it's really powerful to be able to show her, just other women who are just professionals and succeeding. So I'm really grateful, for people like yourself for all the work you've done in the game on and off the field. For me. Just in this new role. So I've been back here in Dallas for about 2 years, and one of the great things has been just having opportunities to reconnect with the club. I spent a lot of time out on the field, just trying to be a support and positive presence in any way that I can. And then there's been opportunities as well, just over the last like 2 years, just to be a resource for the club. Off the field, obviously, what happens on the field is just one, thing, with just one part of a club. And just last year we connected with a group, Youth Revive, and I went down and spoke at a school, and we helped just improve the area outside the school, which was an awesome opportunity. There's a hospital I hope opened just down the street that I got to go represent the club at. I've been out to like a camp, clinic, things like that. There's been just awesome opportunities to just be out in the community, and like I said, be a resource for the club. And it's super exciting to officially be a part of it now, and I'm just incredibly excited to hopefully just multiply all the just the things that we've already done together.
Yeah. How much different is it to be in a place that whether you're playing for a club now, in a role where you're representing the club, but you know, compared to all the other places that you played in your career, how much different is it to be playing for your hometown with so many people that you grew up around, and able to tap into the community that way, so much more organically, I guess.
Yeah, well, just playing here, speaking specifically, just my time playing here, I think it was a unique opportunity to have family and friends in the stands. I'm not sure a lot of players have that opportunity. So I was the biggest mama's boy homebody you've ever met in your life. So actually, when I went to Europe, it was really hard for me to be away. So I was fortunate to have an opportunity at a young age to come back to the league, to come back to my hometown, and have my family in the stands. So to have their support, to have them close, was just so important to just to my career. It was fun to share the goals and the wins with them, but also, not every game is a win, not every shot's a goal. So to have, my support system close by to lean into, just helped me all along the way. So, I have a real, just a deep gratitude to my family here, my community here, the Hunt family, the club, and so I was supported in a huge way throughout my career. So I'm grateful to have an opportunity now to come back and to give back to the club. Um, and yeah, it feels very purposeful to be doing it for my hometown club, and to know that I can make an impact in a community where I know a lot of people and I've connected with a lot of people in this game around here.
Yeah, for sure. Jazz, I kind of want to go a little bit, you know, deeper into some of the other stuff that you do off the field, and some of the things that have, been happening in women's soccer. Of course, I know you're a board member for the Black Women's Players Collective, and I guess we'll start here. But what does it mean to you to be a Black woman in soccer? To be one of those people carrying that torch.
Yeah, it's a responsibility that I don't take lightly. There's so few of us in this game. And it shouldn't be like that way. This is the world's game, this is the world sport, it's the most popular sport in the world, and I think that it should reflect that in the people that are playing, the people that are involved in any capacity, whether you're a player, coach, fan, GM. And so I think it's necessary. I don't think that I would have envisioned myself um, taking on such a role. I think that this is just work that I always did.
Mhm.
You of course gravitate towards people who are like you, who look like you, who come from places like you do, and so I felt like I would always do my part to interact a little bit more with the young kids of color who are interest game and give them hope and know let them know that they're welcome in the sport. And then when the BWPC was formed, I was honored to be able to take up a board position and just, help some of those initiatives grow and work as a collective to, yeah, break down some more of those barriers.
Yeah, what does that work look like from your end? What have you guys been able to accomplish so far, and like, I guess, how much further is there to go? Obviously.
Yeah, we're still young and a new organization, so we have so many great ideas. I think what we're most proud of right now is what we've been able to accomplish with US Soccer, Adidas, and the BPC and the MLS, and creating mini pitches. We've done 12 so far with that partnership across the country. We'll be opening one in Houston later this year, which is great. And it just gives access to kids who belong in these communities where they don't have safe places to play, where they maybe are interested in this game or don't even know the game exists, but we're creating an opportunity for them to engage in the sport, which is amazing. So um, we have more mini pitches coming and some other really cool initiatives as well that we're going to be rolling out this year, which is great.
Yeah, no, it's amazing work, and I love seeing like how much that side of, you talk about levels of the growth of women's soccer. Like you said, there wasn't even a professional league when you were coming out of college, and now you've got things like the players union, and Black Women's Players Collective, and really these players starting to make an impact the way that we see so many male athletes doing. But Kenny, tell me about FC Dallas and soccer's obviously been such a big part of Dallas's sports history. You've got so many amazing players coming out of the academy in Dallas. How do you make FC Dallas resonate? How do what kinds of things are you doing around the community to kind of let people know, like, this MLS team exists, and then you guys are doing, good things for for the community and for the especially the youth.
Yeah, well, Jazz, I think the mini pitches are it's one of my
Yeah,
favorite projects that's been happening, and I think that to make the game more accessible is just such a beautiful thing, um, because there's obviously just so much good that this game can provide, and that's that just idea of making the game more accessible is something that I'm super passionate about, and I'm grateful for those who have contributed to that. FC Dallas has done a number of pitches, and I believe that there may be one, happening really soon. Um, and that is, again, they're such great projects, and something that, for me growing up, I was fortunate. I had, through my father, I had access and exposure to the game that just, as I said before, just so positively impacted my life. And, so I'm, my hope is that more young players, young people have the same kind of opportunities that I did as a youth, to be around the game and to be positively influenced by the game. Here in Dallas, I mean, there's so many people playing. It's just incredible. I mean, here, up here in Frisco, we have tons of youth fields, and obviously, the first team pitch here and the Hall of Fame. I was thinking the other day, I love this thought that, like, just right here in this, like, like a mile radius, there's like dreams that start, there's dreams that come true, and I was even thinking, just with the Hall of Fame, it's like these dreams live forever. And so, Dallas has, our club, and the city has a great opportunity to, because there's so many people interested, because there's so many players playing, we have an amazing opportunity to do a lot of good through the game. We have an amazing platform to, make a positive impact. And I think we're already seeing it. Um, you know, Obviously there's an amazing pathway for a player to start their career here, and there's players that have come up through the first team, and like Jesus Ferreira, and who followed his father's footsteps, and um, there's others who've gone on and are doing amazing in Europe, like Weston McKinney. So this club's already offered a lot of really great opportunities for young players, whether at the highest level, academy level, to pursue their dreams, or even for just other levels, for players to be on the field and get exercise and enjoy this game. So it's just it blows my mind, really, just to see, like, the footprint that this club has, and just all the opportunities that players have here.
Yeah, no, it is amazing. You talk about the pipeline and guys like Ricardo Pepi, who last year we called him the Striker Texas. We didn't realize we were creating a media platform based on a singular man,
Yeah.
but no, he's really blown up and done so well, and kind of represented the Dallas on the world scene. And we just had a panel before you guys came on about the World Cup coming to Texas, and the potential for World Cup games to be in the Dallas area like they were in 1994, and potentially in Houston as well. So I encourage people to go check that out. But just thinking about the world footprint, the place that Dallas can have, it already is having, in kind of the lexicon of world soccer, is it's got to be pretty amazing for somebody like you that grew up there, and has seen where it's come from before FC Dallas even existed. And I know your dad played for the Tornado and everything, but there was kind of that dead period for professional soccer in this country, um, that you grew up in.
Yeah, I mean, it's the growth of the game here is it's just done this. I mean, um, even just this space I'm sitting at right now, I'm looking out onto the field. I can see the National Soccer Hall of Fame right here, and it's just incredible what is happening in this league. With this club. Um, and again, just talking about Ricardo Pepe, there's so many others who, have grown up at this club. I was at this club. I was fortunate when I started my career at Man United to go into this historic place that also had an amazing tradition and history of players
Mm.
growing up, and growing up at the club and breaking into the first team, like the class of '92. It was fascinating for me just to be up close to that and to see the way things were done there. Um, and now obviously here and around the league, just with the academies and the pathways, um, I think we're seeing just the fruits of the opportunities that these players have, and seeing them step out onto this field or step in, on these pitches in Europe is, I think, is incredibly inspiring, and I think just for other players, just for them to see just the possibility that you know that their life, just a pathway that their life could follow as well, is really powerful. And um, again, the game is it's just so big here in this area. So um, it's just amazing to see. I mean, when I was growing up here, I think at one point the team might have been playing in a high school stadium, and now we have this beautiful home. And just this massive, again, just this massive footprint and pathway for players to chase their dreams and have their dreams come true.
Yeah, no, we that's we talk so much, about community and local soccer, especially at the Striker, Texas, where we're covering. It's a big state, but it is a soccer community. And Jazz, what makes me think about with you is like how you've been trying to have this impact. Whether it's with Jazz It Up or with Black Women's Players Collective, but you've been on the move so much. I wonder, what it's like for you to kind of tap into a community. I think you had a pretty sizable impact on the Dash, and just in such a short amount of time. What does it mean for you to tap into a local community, or how do you kind of try to have structure around these things that you're doing off the pitch so that you can do it wherever you are, and not have to worry about the next time you're picking up and moving.
Yeah, I mean, I think in some level, a lot of it was out of my control. It's just like growing pains as the league grows. And I got moved 3 times because new teams came in. That's something that is exciting for the league. And I just had to learn to roll with, I guess. And I just get excited, like it's places that I don't think I ever would have thought I would have lived in. And so I just really try and appreciate the time that I'm going to be there. And make it my home. And so no matter how long or short I'm there, Houston was probably my shortest stint, but it did feel like home for that time, and the best way to get comfortable is to go out and be a part of the community and learn about the city that you're living in and representing. And so I feel like as a person, that's something that I was choosing to do. And then it then gave me the opportunities to, do things there with the BWPC or make connections with people through Jazz It Up. And I guess the best things about my time in Houston was while I was there, connecting with an incredible organization called SBP, and I wound up doing my next collection with Jazz It Up. And their primary cause is providing disaster relief to people who are affected by natural disasters. And so it was just, I guess, really good timing for me to be there and be committed to that work already, and then be then in a position to help humanity that I was representing at the time. So a lot of it's just out of my control, but just approaching it with a positive attitude, I think, is really what gives me um, a blessing out of it all.
Yeah, no, we talked about how different I guess your both of your career paths were, but that is one area that I think has been kind of similar looking at your stories is coming through a league that is growing and changing and so many teams coming in and Kenny, I know you kind of rode that roller coaster for a while going to so many different markets. How did you feel like you were part of a community in a team when you know it's such a brand new thing? We've seen that here in Austin that this feels like a community. It feels like a something that's so grounded, but yet it's only been here for a year. So like, what was your experience that way with you know tapping into communities, making clubs part of communities when you're there for such a short period of time and the club's been there for such a short period of time?
Yeah, well, the funny thing is, so my father more or less played his whole career here in Dallas, and
Mm,
then more or less coached his whole career in Baltimore. So I don't think I could have ever anticipated the movement that I ended up having. Um, but at this point in my life, I really appreciate it, just because it gave me an opportunity to, be in different communities. Um, be around, make a lot of friends, new team, different teammates, learn from different coaches. Um, though it was challenging at times to pick up and move, at this point in my life, I look back, I'm really grateful to God for those, just all those different experiences. I have to say, like, when I think of like the communities from the, just within the different teams that I played for, I was fortunate. I felt like so often I was the one receiving, like benefiting from just the energy and the support of the soccer communities. Like when I went to
mm.
Portland, for example, it was their inaugural season. There was a ton of energy and excitement, that year, and, I felt like wow, like wow, just it was a it's always a dream, obviously, like to have the stands full, to play in front of so many fans. So for so long, I feel like as a player, just going, Seattle, you know, similarly, just so many supporters, um, and obviously playing here 2 different times, with our great fans and my family. I feel like for so long as a player, I was on the receiving end of the support, and it's partly why I'm so grateful now to be in a role where I'm like, all right, now it's time for me to reciprocate all the support that I've had, and try to put it back into give back to our fans, give back to the community. But yeah, again, like I said, I feel like so much of my playing career, I was on the receiving end of just our soccer communities, and there's so many great soccer communities here in the states that support our teams. Um, so to have a role now where as I said, I can focus now on you know giving back in our club, you know being a support to the community, and engaging, connecting with fans is something that really excites me now.
Yeah, and I guess the big thing that I think about there with your career, Jazz, is just going, overseas on multiple occasions, just because I'm sure, it's got to be kind of, I guess, kind of frustrating that there's only so many spots in this league, but now there's more teams coming in. You're at a club, Angel City, that I think there's so much excitement around, and so much investment being pumped into. What's it like for you to get to be part of that roller coaster and see, kind of the ways that Angel City is now coming into this league at a you know a different time than you came in and that you've experienced.
Yeah, I think it's huge. I think it is a really good representation of how far we've come, that that this club exists and that this club has big goals of even pushing the needle further. All those years that was going overseas is because our season was 5 months long, that was the
Hmm.
only way to kind of get 10 months to a year of playing soccer was to play in the NWSL and then go abroad to play for in Europe or in Australia. And so I loved it in terms of, I get to travel, meet new people, but also grow as a player, playing in different styles. But I think it's really good for the women's game in this country, and uh, opportunities for the next generation, that they don't have to worry about that. They don't have to chase money or opportunities elsewhere. They know that there's a domestic league available where they can make a living and grow and be committed to their growth without having to jump and change teams, countries, continents every 5 6 months. So it's huge. And I think what Angel City came in and said is like, we're taking it another step forward. Like what we've done in 10 years has been amazing, but watch what we're going to help push towards in the next 10 20 years. And it's incredible to see, and I hope that they kind of put pressure on everybody else to continue. And there'll be new leagues, teams, excuse me, coming into the league, and they kind of set the standard. Like, we're not going to accept anything less than what Angel City and San Diego, coming in this year as well, have committed to. And so it's really great.
Yeah, for both of you, I guess, do you feel like, as soccer players in this country, do you feel like you have more of that responsibility, or feel more of uh, a purpose in getting involved in community work, doing, those things, because those jobs weren't always guaranteed when you were kind of coming up in this sport. Do you feel like there's an added responsibility, or um, you know something there, I guess, that kind of makes you feel like that's a part of this job, maybe more than it would be if you were like in the NBA or NFL, leagues that are, kind of established, and they're not going anywhere.
Well, for me, I just to see more teams, to see women's soccer grow. Um, with that, and with that, obviously comes more opportunities for people. So um, it's an exciting time for the game, obviously, and I definitely feel a responsibility.
Hmm.
And like through the game, there's an amazing platform to just to be a role model, to do good, to make an impact. Um, and I think that, like, with obviously with more opportunities out there, I think there'll be even more interest for people to know that I can, really have a future in this game. Um, and so, specifically speaking, just to our area, and just again all the young players playing around here, I think, I really believe that, whether you're a player, you're just, involved in this organization, there is a great responsibility to be a role model, and to be someone that a young player can look up to, and be positively influenced by. Um, and so it's something that, again, just with my new role, I'm grateful to have an opportunity now um, to give back with this club, and to just try to positively affect lives, really.
Yeah, for sure. Where was it? Yeah, Jazz. I know, like, the other thing that's kind of hanging in the air with women's soccer is obviously everything that's been going on off the field. It's just such an important time in the history of women's soccer in this country, with the obviously the sexual, emotional, and verbal abuse, reports, that have been out there. But how do you feel like your experiences in this game have prepared you to kind of help lead the sport forward, and allow the players to kind of, I feel like you've got so many projects that you've, been a leader in, at this point in your career. Do you feel like, how do we move this game forward? How do we move, things forward?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing I can think of is just securing the first ever CBA. I mean, that's huge.
Hmm.
Like, that is right there representation of like the fact that we want more. Now we have security and resources and just I guess it's like a benchmark, like we're not going to allow these things to happen again. And in the meantime, we're going to keep pushing for these things to come. And I think just like being in the league for 10 years, like very few of us have been able to do that for several different reasons, but just showing that longevity is possible. Obviously, a lot of it has been lucky in terms of my body staying healthy and being physically able to do it, but just having an incredible family and support system around me that when it was, when I was making pennies and really not in a position to make a living, that they were supporting me financially to just let me live my dream. I'm fortunate. There are very many people that I played with that didn't have that and left the game early. And I don't want that to happen for, the next generation. So I think, being able to stick it out and see where we are at year 10, it just gives people hope that, like you can make a career out of this. This is something that you can do long term, which I don't think very many people thought that that was possible 10 years ago.
Yeah. Do you feel like you have to remind the players that are coming through of that at all, or like how do you kind of perceive the players that are coming into this league now that maybe don't know the struggles that you've had to go through to be still playing?
Yeah, we try, I feel like the group of us who have been here, we try not to like harp on it because the standard was so poor that like it's ridiculous. Like we're beyond that. We don't even want to talk about how those conditions were or what the pay was because they don't have to go through it and we wouldn't want them to go through it. So, every now and again they'll say things like, "Oh, like you all are so nice, like you're not making us carry the balls or, carry pennies." Like we've fought for so much and been through so much more that, that little pecking order doesn't need to exist because we're all in this together. We love this game and we just want better for everyone who's coming after us. So they do ask questions, we tell them, and then there's like a shock of horror. Like they're like, wow. And I'm like, yeah, like I don't ever want to be like, you should be grateful because they deserve it. We all deserve it, like we deserved it 10 years ago. So it's kind of more of like a celebration of like, you won't have to go through those things, so don't worry about it.
Yeah, no, totally. I guess, Kenny, how does that resonate with you as somebody that came up through the game the way that you did, but now you're raising, like you said, you're raising daughters in the game. You're watching um, you know women's soccer players fight for things that you maybe took for granted at certain points in your career. Like how do you feel like, yeah, like I guess, how does that resonate with you?
Well, I spoke a little bit about just some of these awesome people I had the fortune to grow up around and learn the game from.
Right.
I'm lucky that I not only had some great coaching, but I was coached by just really great people who just spoke so much positivity and encouragement into my life. Whether it was my parents, teachers, coaches. I feel so blessed and fortunate that I've had a lot of really positive, just people who have just really spoken life into my dreams. I've joked before that my father brainwashed me to believe that I could do anything, and I say it as a joke, but really, my parents, they always just were there supporting my dreams. I mean, from a young age, I wanted to be a professional. Hey, you can do it. You can do it, and we're going to be there all along the way. Wow, are you kidding me? Just that's so powerful. There's not a thing in the game as a young player that I would have experienced that I wouldn't get some kind of message like, you miss a penalty kick. Oh, Messi missed a penalty, misses penalty kicks. Ronaldo, I was always getting this positive, this just these positive words of encouragement. So now at this point in my life, seeing just how much I benefited from that way, it makes me now want to step into the opportunities I have, whether it's coaching, the coaching I do on my own, whether I'm, out in the field with the first team, and I feel like there's great mentoring opportunities out there, just to be a positive presence, or whether I'm, out in the community representing the club. Because I have been around so many people that have, just been such a force of positivity and encouragement in my life, it now makes me want to use the game in the same way. And again, I'm so grateful for where the league, this league's at, all the teams, that now exist, and in the game for men and women. It's exciting for me to be able to show my daughters what is possible, and I just want to speak that same, that those powerful messages of possibility, into their lives, knowing that it's true. They can grow up and become professional women's soccer player, or whatever else their heart desires. And so, because I benefited so much from, so many great people, it makes me now want to go be a great person, and all the different, opportunities that I'm fortunate enough to have in this game.
Yeah. Jazz, have you thought about, what your post career is going to look like if you want to, stay around soccer, use all these, I know you're not there yet, right? You're 31. There's still plenty of games, plenty of miles left to run. But what have you thought about, seeing somebody like Kenny, who's now in a brand ambassador role? Is that something that you feel like we'll start to see in women's soccer? Is that something you'd be interested in? How have you sort of thought about post playing, if at all?
Yeah, I feel like it changes every couple of years. And
Hmm.
I don't know what avenue, I would have never thought I would have owned my own company, or, been on a board for a nonprofit. So I feel like I stopped trying to think about it because I genuinely have no idea. I've seen two of my former teammates recently become GMs of teams, and that's not even something that I thought was possible, or, thought that I'd be interested in, but they're doing phenomenal job. Yael at Gotham, and now Cami Levin at Kansas City. So I'm like, maybe that's a path that I can stumble into next. But yeah, I think the opportunities are endless, and we'll just wait and see.
Yeah. Question for both of you. Like, as players, that it seems like, whether you're, currently, I guess most of all, you're very involved, and I'm sure, when there's somebody that you don't see kind of raising their hand to get involved in community events. Kenny, maybe this resonates with you, because I'm sure you're kind of involved getting guys out to places. What do you tell them about what you've gotten out of being involved in community work, or doing things off the field, rather than just kind of sticking to sticking to sports, I guess, sticking to what your main role is? How do you kind of articulate that to teammates, if at all? Or do you have any experiences or stories of somebody that was, kind of hesitant, that now is like super involved in that kind of stuff?
Well, fortunately, I'm able to share from, a lot of great, positive experiences that I've had, on the receiving end of just, of people who have, supported me through this game. And what I've realized is, um, as I said, I feel like a lot of my like motivation to go try to do good is because I've received so much good from people. And so something that I, am able to do is to share with someone just how, someone else, along the way, supported me, or spoke something positive into my life, encouraged me, helped pick me up, helped me through an injury, helped me when I got traded. I'm able to share with people now how meaningful that was to me. And my hopes are that just through sharing my own experiences, it might inspire someone to go be a positive presence now, as a teammate out in the community, as a role model. And little things too can be really impactful as well. I said before, like, you know, even a simple greeting, as a player, you're out on the field, you acknowledge a fan, you wave, you ask how they're doing. Those things can be so powerful. There's so many ways
Hmm.
that a player, or someone who's not a player, can positively impact their community. And I'm able to share just from my own experiences, on the receiving end of, those who've been so supportive in my life.
Yeah. No, I think we've also seen, how supporters, can kind of get involved in in doing things. And, I guess from your end, in this brand ambassador role, and I want to get to one last thing. We're about to wrap up here, but what kinds of things have you started to think about that this role is going to bring to FC Dallas, and your own ideas of how best to get involved in the community and to do those things. Like, what's Kenny Cooper's vision for FC Dallas, beyond the soccer side of things?
That's a great question. I mean, I have a real genuine love and passion for this game and this club. And so, you know, to have this role, it's amazing to be able to bring that, you know, just to bring it here. And so, what my hope is just like, I've always felt like my greatest strength is my spirit. And so, whether I'm around the first team, whether I'm at a game out around the fans and connecting and engaging with them, or we're out, out at a school and working with, a great organization, my hope is just that, like, my positivity, my love and passion for this game, might, might just leave a positive, just make a positive impact in someone else's life. And I think that, again, because this club has such a, big footprint and whether it's, fans, whether it's players playing, I think there's going to be, I believe, a lot of opportunities for me to connect and engage, and represent the club in a positive way, and in a way that might, I hope, inspire someone else to, go positively impact someone else's life. I feel like that's how life can work. You positively impact someone else's life. They might go do it to two other people. Might go, So
Hmm.
I'm excited. I'm grateful for the opportunities I've already had here. Over the last 2 years, and hopefully, just multiplies over the next couple of years.
Yeah, we're about to wrap up. This is the fourth panel of the 2022 Texas Soccer Summit. We've got 6 today and 6 tomorrow. Really appreciate everybody for joining us. But before we wrap up, Kenny Cooper, brand ambassador for FC Dallas, and Jas Spencer, who's a forward for Angel City FC. I was wondering, after listening to each other for the past 50 minutes or so, if you've got any questions or thoughts on each other's experiences, or I guess any questions for me. I won't let myself off the hook here, but anything you want to add or ask each other.
Well, I'll just say, again, I just want to say, thanks to Jazz for, all that she's doing. I love hearing, all that you're involved in, and I'm excited. I'll be excited to, you know, to when I'm speaking to my girls, and just to have another great example for them to follow, and show them that through this game you can, achieve your dreams, but you can also use it as a great platform to do a lot of good. So I just, rather than ask a question, at least now, I just want to take the opportunity to say thanks for all the, great work that you're doing.
Thank you. And I feel like maybe not at this moment, but definitely just keeping in touch and following the work you're doing. And I think that would be a great asset to me, as whenever my time comes to transition out of the game, but still be in a position to be involved and um, continue to push the needle forward like you're doing. So I'm just like grateful to have been on this panel with you and see that it is possible beyond playing years to continue the work that we've been doing as players. So that's just awesome.
Yeah, and once again, thanks to both of you for joining in the Texas Soccer Summit. Again, my name is Chris Bills. I'm a co-founder and senior writer covering Austin FC. Next up, we're gonna have big panel at 2 o'clock with representatives from the sporting side of Houston Dynamo, Austin FC, and FC Dallas talking about how those clubs plan to improve in 2022 after obviously a rough go of it in 2021. Lots of moves being made in the offseason, and we're going to get deep into all that. But again, the impact that you guys have made off the field and that so many players around the state are making off the field is honestly much bigger than the game and the results on the field. So thanks to both of you for the work that you do and for coming on the Texas Soccer Summit and talking a bit about it with me.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you.